Hey guys, welcome to the Liberal Hive Mind, a channel solely focused on exposing the abundant hypocrisy of the left. You know, like I've been saying for the last couple of months, I keep repeating the same line: elections are all about choice. You gotta look at both sides, identify the clear distinctions, and make a choice. What side has the good policies, and what side is standing for what's right, and what side is standing for what's wrong. And that right there is a very important distinction, right versus wrong. Well, if you listen to the mainstream media, apparently the Democrats have a monopoly on right. Everything that's good is blue, everything that's bad is red. You know, you tend to get this experience when speaking to young college students or young people coming into adulthood in general who don't necessarily have a deep understanding about politics. They say stuff like, well, you know, I thought the Democrats were for the people and Republicans, the red guys, they only care about big businesses and the billionaires. Democrats want to do good things for people and Republicans are just, you know, Darth Vader or something. It's of course a frustrating phenomenon, but it's not entirely surprising why that is. The mainstream media, all the celebrities, all the talking heads are always going on and on, essentially trying to dumb down the dynamic to exactly that. But I, for one, cannot let this stand because it's simply not true. The Democrats don't have a monopoly on good. No, the Democrats are the biggest hypocrites on a lot of issues, but especially this one. And that right there, that's the context. Now let's have the conversation. We got some stuff to get into, so let's roll the tape. Alright folks, so let's just really try to go issue by issue here and try to make the point. This video is actually inspired by a clip that popped up on my X timeline where once again the Democrats are saying the quiet part out loud. You know, that's essentially what Bill Clinton said last week, or at least it's some iteration on it.
And he's going to take on these countries that screw American workers. That's the plan. And oh, by the way, he's going to crack down on immigration to the benefit of American workers.
He's going to deport 20 million people, the people who pick your crops, the people who process your meat, the people who, you know, care for your grandmother, the people who serve all sorts of critical functions in this country. Yeah, he's going to...
You know, harm and damage be damned, GDP must go up. Basic human decency be damned, illegal migrants pick your crops. It's the same thing that we saw during The View. And remember back in 2016, I don't even really want to play the clip, but we all remember what that young Osborne girl said. You know, it's frankly just disgusting. In my view, it's racist. I mean, it's belittling. It's dehumanizing. The argument essentially boils down to, we need illegal migrants in this country because we need essential modern-day slave labor. It's unbelievable. It's horrible. And again, this is coming from the political party that pretends as if they have a monopoly on good ethics. No, you don't. And they always pretend as if, oh, well, we support illegal migration because they're all refugees. No human should be left behind. Borders are racist. We just care about the people. But really, they only care about the cheap labor. How clear is it? I mean, what else could it be? Essentially nothing. It's all about economics. Just let illegal migrants stay here because I don't want to pay a good, fair American wage to an American citizen. No, I'd rather import people from impoverished countries to work illegally under the table for dimes to the dollar, despite the fact that we're funneling, you know, thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of young children and women into human smuggling rings, funneling billions upon billions of dollars to the cartels, and of course creating essentially a permanent underclass in America, people who are undocumented, unaccounted for, uninsured. You know, essentially you get where I'm going, you get the point I'm trying to make. It's just absurd, it's backwards, it's hypocritical, it's wrong, and frankly nobody should support it. But then of course the response from the left, well, you're a racist, you're anti-immigrant. No, nobody's anti-immigrant. We get it, we understand the issue. You know, it's kind of like fall of Rome times. Population is dropping, and the simple fact is we're not having enough kids, and so people are needed in the workforce. We understand that. But here's the distinction. Illegal migration isn't the answer. You want to have a conversation about legal migration, work permits, maybe even temporary work permits, that's a fine conversation. I'm sure Republicans are willing to come to the table. But no, what do Democrats want? Democrats want to reward the bad behavior. Again, these are the people who have the best unquestionable moral compass. Give me a frickin' break. You don't reward people whose first act in the nation was an unlawful act. You don't reward people who skip the line. Meanwhile, the responsible good people are trying to get in through legal processes. You know, you got people in these visa lottery programs just waiting for the day where they get their opportunity to go to that shining beacon up on that hill called the United States of America. And frankly, those people are getting shafted because Democrats keep enabling this illegal migration crisis. And Democrats keep prioritizing trying to grant amnesty to the 30 million migrants that they view simply as loyal voters and not even people. Let's be freaking real here. Democrats are are more focused on granting amnesty than actually fixing the broken immigration process. And that's a freaking fact. And don't get me started with this whole, well, Donald Trump spiked the border bill. Yeah, no wonder Donald Trump spiked the border bill. Again, Democrats pretend as if that was such a bad thing. Only an evil, terrible, self-interested racist would do something like that, but it's not true. And Byron Donalds, I think, broke it down pretty much better than anybody else. Why the Senate border bill failed. Codify catch and release. Let in 1.8 million illegals. Fund sanctuary cities. Fund NGOs moving illegals. Lawyers to illegals. Work permits to illegals. Nothing to deport illegals. No immediate wall funds. Weak asylum screening. And $60 billion to Ukraine. Oh, Donald Trump's such a bad person for spiking the border bill. No, Donald Trump once again did the nation a service. Frankly, doing more to secure the nation, doing more to benefit the nation as a former president who's currently a private citizen, more so than the current president and vice president who hold power today. I mean, come on. Democrats have a monopoly on good. Give me a freaking break. It's a complete joke, and on so many issues that Democrats constantly virtue signal on, when they scoff at you and look down at you and wag their finger, Democrats politicize issues, they create cultural taboos to then try to essentially force people into compliance, and again, always with that underlying notion that they're so virtuous and you have to support what they're doing or you're a bad person. But on so many of these issues, like the trans issue for instance, it's obviously political and it's obvious that they actually don't care. I mean, look at what's going on in blue states. Look at what they're doing to female sports, for instance. It's horrifying. And now to me, it's becoming even more personal as my wife and I are bringing in a young daughter to the world. I mean, it's just unfathomable what leftists are doing. It's presented as compassion, but it's not. It's just wrong.
Up and down the ballot, how many of you are worried about biological men and boys competing against women and girls in sports? Just show me. That's almost the entire, that is the entire room. And I know you have a question.
I do.
By the way, excuse me, it's so crazy. It's so crazy.
Your question, yes. Your name and your hometown.
My name is Linda, and I'm from Milton, Georgia.
Good.
But originally Brooklyn, New York.
Oh, wow.
I'd get that
good.
in there. My question is, how do you plan on addressing the transgender issue in women's sports? I have 9 grandchildren, 6 of them female, all playing sports, and we are very concerned for their safety, not just on the field and the courts, but in their locker rooms as well.
Right. It's such an easy question, and everybody in the room, and you know that answer, we're not going to let it happen. You look, just yesterday, they had a volleyball match. Did you see that?
Yeah.
Where a person that transitioned, okay? We have to be very careful because this can terminate your political career if you say it's slightly off, all right? But transitioned from man to female and was on a volleyball. And I saw the slam. It was a slam. I never saw a ball hit so hard. Hit the girl on the head. But other people, even in volleyball, they've been permanently, I mean, they've been really hurt badly, women playing men. But you don't have to do the volleyball. We stop it. We stop it. We absolutely stop it. You can't have it. It's a man playing in the game. I mean, physically, from a muscular standpoint, even if it was a little bit less, maybe they do all sorts of tests and drugs and everything else. Look at what's happened in swimming. Look at the records that are being broken.
So how do you stop it? Do you go to the sports leagues? Do you go to the Olympic
You just
councils?
ban it. The president bans it. You just don't let it happen.
Yeah, I don't know about you guys, but I prefer the Republican stance. I think, as Charlie Kirk actually said in response to this clip, this is what moral clarity looks like. The Democrats don't hold monopoly on the issue of morality, not even a little bit. They pretend to, with their constant feigning of outrage, but on almost every single issue, when you delve into the actual details, you realize that it's always about control, it's always about politics, it's always emotional manipulation over actually doing the right thing. Here's another great example. Donald Trump recently said this.
Anything to do with school choice, also. Okay. But also, separate from school choice, we're going to take the Department of Education, close it. I'm going to close it. We'll have one person, could be you if you decide to retire.
Okay, Mr. President, here's what bothers
central casting.
Here's what bothers me about that. So let's say you have a liberal city, let's Los Angeles, San Diego, and they just decide we're going to get rid of that history. We got new history. This is America built off the backs of slaves on stolen land. And that curriculum comes in.
Then we don't send them money. We would save half of our budget.
Okay.
He's talking about closing the Department of Education. Democrats are claiming this is such a horrible, terrible thing. Project 2025, yada, yada, yada. How dare he? He wants to take education away from kids. But it's all a lie. They just don't want to have the actual conversation. The Department of Education has become a disaster. It's become a Goliath, and it's more focused on indoctrinating children and frankly misappropriating funds than it is on actual academic results and preparing the next generation for the tough world that we inhabit. Again, to me, this is moral clarity. Donald Trump sees something that is doing bad, that is hurting our children rather than helping, and he wants to do something about it. But they claim that he's evil. He's a monster. He's a dictator for having that stance. Really? So what's the argument here? Democrats are protecting the public schooling system? Give me a friggin' break. What is there to defend? I mean, in some of these cities, have you guys seen the illiteracy rates, the math results? We're talking about American cities, American districts being outperformed by third world nations on the issue of education. And it's actually not even close when you compare some of these areas. Democrats have failed. The Board of Education has failed. But you're a bad person if you want to reform it, if you want to even have that conversation, if you want to go there, if you want to talk about school choice or charter schools. It's absolutely absurd. All the Democrats do is play politically correct games and then pretend as if they're always on the right side. But obviously, smart people understand that being on the right side sometimes means being on the unpopular side. It means being possibly on the politically incorrect side. It means standing up for what's right despite the backlash, despite the powers that be, and not caving into their retaliation. Democrats do not have a monopoly on good. They just pretend to while actively causing harm and then asking you to pay for it. At least that's my perception. Anyways, let me know what you guys think in the comments section. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. I actually really enjoyed recording it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.